Yeah, we're back. Hello, one and all. Hello, hello, hello. You can never be too safe, is what I've been told. And I'm being nice and safe here. Yes. Hello, welcome one and all to the show. It was, of course, supposed to be. Oh, I've got a friend now. It was supposed to be. I've got one of my little helpers. Hello, Elf. It was, of course, supposed to be show 96. It was going to be the Christmas edition of the show they couldn't stop. It's the radio show all about cars, now with added pictures. Hard to believe we made it to 96 episodes, but there you go. And this, as I say, was our Christmas special. And then someone, not a million miles away, got COVID. And, he had to isolate in a room in West London. And
it was me.
Yes, so it was more like, this is going to be our new. I think you. Can I take this off now? Can I take both of these things off?
No. I'm negative. Look,
you're negative.
Test done.
But you still got the AIDS. let me take
yes,
the wonderful
speak
hat
around. I
off.
got the AIDS.
See, I wanted to get as much as I could out of the Christmas hat, and I think I have. Let's get rid of that. There's festive fun on the program today because I couldn't be bothered to rewrite it. Let me just close this door, the studio door. Now we've had my son make his first.
It's hilarious. Maybe I should do those faces too.
I'm just wearing sweatpants underneath, not the usual shirt. Yes, it's going to be full of festive fun today, as I said, because I couldn't be bothered to rewrite the show. Unlike the rest of the UK, which is a hairbreadth from another lockdown, we've welcomed this Yuletide season as much as Gary Glitter is welcomed at the local primary school. But do not fear, it's a seasonal joke that you can use once a year and was applicable in 2003. But fear not, we've got plenty of seasonal gifts on the show this week, including a roundup of the global news, the global car news in the news. We've got a viewer who's found an absolute piece of hunk of junk for sale on the internet to take pride of place in our streaming pile of poo we like to call Pick of the Pups. This week, it's a Ford. No surprise there, then, I hear you say. And we will be testing our little Gressels in a Christmas quiz, which is all about matching up a celebrity with their car. Does George Clooney drive a Nissan Bluebird? Does Kim Kardashian have a 1987 Austin Montego? MG Turbo Edition. The answer is, of course, no to the former and surprisingly yes to the latter. But she drives the estate version she inherited off her Uncle Steve. So that's,
Steve.
Kim
Kardashian. Yes, of course, her stepdad, Caitlyn Jenner. Is that right? Caitlyn Jenner? He drives a Jeep. But obviously it's on the other side of the road because it's America, and of course because of no reason. Well, no reason at all, really.
No, but he's on the other side of the road with that.
Yes, we've got a great show for you this week. The final show of the year. We head off down to somewhere amazing in our roads and our lost highway section of the program. This week we stay in Europe as we go to Austria. I was looking at a route. I was getting a route from Austria to Poland. I thought, no, that's not true. Austria and Spain.
Via Berlin on the way to Moscow.
We also have an amazing car for you in the classic car selection. This week we go stateside, so our friends in America with an American muscle car. It's the 2007 Dodge Charger.
Yes, like it. Very nice.
So stay tuned for all of that and more. I'm Simon Sujuwan, and another rock and roll Christmas, another Christmas rock and roll. Better be off home, shut up tight. You never know, it might snow tonight. I actually think that's a really good song.
I love that Christmas song, and I'm really annoyed that Gary Glitter got up to what Gary Glitter did, because now you can't play that song at Christmas.
Because it was good.
Simon Suju on there with some evidence submitted to the Operation U-Tree trial on behalf of Mr. Gary Glitter. I really do miss that not being on the radio. It was such a fun song. And I'm Richard Green, and snow is falling all around me, children playing, having fun. 'Tis the season for love and understanding. Merry Christmas, everyone. And of course, Shakin' Stevens with Merry Christmas, everyone. And no, I'm afraid Operation U-Tree failed to have him arrested. This, of course, is Car-Boyz.
It is Car-Boyz.
Simon, favorite Christmas song? Nothing to do with
the waitresses and Christmas rapping, because it's so annoying. And maybe Bob Dylan. Yeah.
I don't know that song.
Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas.
Oh, that's awful. Yeah, that's terrible. I didn't know what that was called.
And possibly Bob Dylan's "Must Be Santa," which is actually I think is quite funny as well.
Okay, yeah, I have heard that. That's quite a funky song. I think the best one is "Slade Merry Christmas." Is you could play that any. I really think that's a great Christmas song. My favorite for personal reasons is Paul McCartney's "Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time," because when I worked in local radio, I accidentally put the overnight playlist on in March. I put the Christmas overnight playlist on in March. And when I got into work the next day, my mate jumped up from behind his desk and went, "Snow is falling all around me, children playing, having fun." And I was like,
having fun.
What? And then somebody else came from behind the toilet and was going, "The moon is out, the stars are bright," and I was like, "What's going on?" And I looked at my desk, and somebody written messages from the local police force, and the two local coppers were sat in a lay-by listening to the pre-recorded overnight playlist that was the Christmas playlist, not the springtime playlist.
But proof local radio works.
It does. It did work for those two coppers. Apparently, they thought it was hilarious. It keeps them amused. Well, got to have something to do. Time now for Richard's rant on the show. It's where I take a sideways view of the world from my own weird and, to be honest, warped perspective. Unlike other sections of the podcast, this will be a dictatorship. I shall rule this, unchallenged as El Jefe. This week, I've been thinking about the prickly subject of traffic congestion. I've been working in West London, namely just off Chiswick High Road. And before the COVID pandemic, this used to be a lovely little street to drive on, either during rush hour or in the wee small hours. It consisted of a dual carriageway, which filters down to a two-lane road with plenty of lay-bys for buses to pull over and pick up passengers. It also had a speed limit of 30 miles an hour. So the whole thing flowed quite nicely. Since the pandemic, for what reason, I don't know, the whole of the UK has been subject to this. Social distancing is apparently aided by making traffic congestion worse. You can stop the spread of COVID by making it more difficult for me to drive my car, even though I'm in an effing car and I'm breathing in the car. And if I'm really good, I turn the internal blower on, so I'm not taking any air from the inside, not sending air any out. But apparently, COVID is stopped by making driving more difficult in London. Anyway, a deep breath. We've reduced the whole stretch of this Chiswick High Road to now just two lanes, one going that way, one going this way, which means if a bus stops to pick up passengers, the whole line of traffic stops as well. Speed limit is now down to 20 miles an hour. And instead of the two lanes that used to be there each way, there's now a massive cycle lane, which is wider than the road. And these weird concrete islands, which people have to cross the cycle lane to get to the concrete island in the middle of nowhere. You can't see them. They're just sort of in the middle. They're painted black. They're not on the side of the road. They're in the middle of the road for you to catch a bus. And I swear to God, last week I saw somebody drive into the cycle lane, not realizing it was a cycle lane. And he sort of went, "Oh, what have I done?" It's the most confusing thing. So I've worked the last 3 weekends on a Sunday night. I've driven down the road at 9 p.m. It has been bumper to bumper traffic. So well done, TfL. Well done, Sadiq Khan. You've made pollution worse by slowing down traffic. I don't know. I still don't know how this stops COVID. All of which comes in light of a new report this month, which reveals London has the worst traffic congestion of any city in the world. We're now, I mean, England doesn't do much right, but we're now top of the pops in traffic congestion. According to the transportation and analytics firm Inrix Inc., the city has the worst traffic levels among more than 1,000 selected across 50 countries. Paris, Brussels, Moscow, New York are next on the list, showing where you're most likely to spend your time stuck in a traffic jam. The report relies on countries where Inrix has data coverage. It excludes some infamously famous cities such as Lahore, Lagos, I know is particularly bad, and Cairo. But officially, we have the worst congestion in the world, in London. Cycle charities disputed the claims, with Cycling UK arguing that lanes help to move people more efficiently. Well, they do, if you're on a bicycle and not driving a car like most of us. It brings me back to my main argument that I will not get onto a bus if I own a car. I'm sorry. A car is cheaper, faster, more comfortable. Who would? And in terms of cycling, well, I don't know if you've noticed, but London is very wet and very busy, and I prefer to have a metal cage around me than some lycra and a Lance Armstrong helmet. So it's a big well done to Sadiq Khan for effing up the roads in London. Now we can all enjoy the traffic fumes created by slower traffic, but hey, don't worry. The new road layout helps social distancing. Simon,
that's the thing. So that's the thing. So
How
that
does that
sign.
help?
So I remember some places where they extended the pavement into the road for social distancing, which I didn't quite understand. One, social distancing. Two, you're outside anyway, with fresh air.
Yes.
So that's one thing. The other thing is, so yeah, that was the last 3 weeks. Boris Johnson, the so-called prime minister of this country, he's been saying recently that we should work from home. So if you're travelling at 9 p.m. in the evening and it's still busy, that's got to tell you something. That's got to tell you that the roads are just messed up.
Not 9 p.m. on a Sunday evening.
So not a work day.
Not a work day. Chiswick High in the holidays, 9 p.m. Sunday evening, Chiswick High Road. 2 years ago, you could have flown down there at any speed you liked because there was no traffic on it. Now, I cut down all the back streets to avoid that road because you just sit, and a bus stops. You can't get around the bus, even if there's no traffic coming the other way, because the road is now not wide enough. It's the weirdest. You just go, what am I mean, I ran through a red light, not knowing I'd gone through a red light because I was like, there's too much going on. There's too much on the floor. There's too much white paint. There's too many road signs. There's too many go this way, do this way. There's a light here. There's a light here. There's a light for cyclists. There's a light for this. I just went through a red light going, sorry. And no, there's nobody. It's not a major route at that time of day. But you've made things a lot worse. And there is a story in the paper about how local residents doing the school run have just given up, and just now looking to move out of Chiswick. So you've completely effed your own borough. So there you go. I don't see how that stops you getting COVID. I am completely confused.
No.
So
no,
we have a new sponsor for the show. I thought I'd tell you. Ooh. It's just this week. It's just vodka because it's New Year's Eve.
Nice.
Vodka in it. 100% Novichok. Yeah. Depending on whether I've argued with the Russian president or not. I haven't. He's a lovely man. I have nothing against him.
Should we have hockey? Wasn't he yesterday?
Betty won. I win. Did he take his shirt off? He's always saying that. Look at me, I win. Than you. Do you know the story about him and the fall of the Berlin Wall getting sidetracked? No. The story is, and I'm not sure how true this is, that the Berlin Wall falls in what, 89?
89.
So the wall comes down, the East Germans go over, the West Germans go over, and the East Germans think, right, we're free of our Soviet oppressors. Let's go and set fire to the Russian USSR, I guess, embassy in East Berlin. Off we go, torches at the ready. Apparently, he's ahead of the KGB at the time. Marches out, AK-47 in hand, with another load of soldiers, and fires into the air. And the crowd, strangely enough, disperse. How true that is, I don't know, but I think it would ring very true if now we know the man. Shall we have some news?
Let's have some news.
Let's have some news. It's time for news. It ended abruptly, didn't it?
News. By the way, I was going to say, I did see a thing on the internet said it's so good that they got rid of those plastic straws, and we just got loads of these.
What is it?
So, it's the COVID test.
Oh, yeah.
Plastic.
Oh, I see. Well, that's all. Those petrochemical companies will be going, that's fine. We move from one thing to another. We'll give the world a pandemic. We'll still be selling the byproducts of petrochemical companies. I'm going to get you excited. We've got a competition coming up later.
Yeah.
You know what's up for grabs?
No.
Signed photo of Bruce Forsyth.
Oh,
I know.
Oh, Oh,
the guy from your hometown.
Edmonton's finest, yes.
It's getting exciting.
Meanwhile, first off, in Taxhaven, F1 driver gets a gong news. Racing driver Lewis Hamilton has received his knighthood just days after his F1 championship heartbreak in Abu Dhabi. The Formula One Ace 36 was awarded the honour by Prince Charles at the investiture at Windsor Castle last week. He's accompanied at ceremony by his mother, Carmen Balestier. I think that's her name. Who along with his father, Anthony, who I don't look like, by the way. I don't look like Anthony Hamilton at all. He has been enthusiastic supporter.
Looking at that haircut on him, he's going to be looking like you soon, mate.
Good grief.
Give it a year.
Hamilton, a 7-time world champion, received the honour from he received the knighthood for services to motorsport, and he joined Sir Jackie Stewart, Sir Sterling Moss, and Sir Jack Brabham as the 4th F1 racing driver to be knighted. I actually think Jackie Stewart's probably one of the best out of those. It comes just days after Hamilton lost out on his hopefully his record-breaking 8th F1 World Championship title, being pipped by Dutch driver Max Verstappen in controversial style in Abu Dhabi, which I don't think was that controversial at all whatsoever. And the Mercedes driver was cruising victory in the race at Yas Marina. A win would have secured the 2021 World Championship, and then a crash forced a safety car out on the track, and Hamilton lost his 11-second advantage and was forced to race without new tyres. Oh dear, look at that, shedding a little tear due to the decision by the race director, and this led to Max Verstappen's winning the race. The win could have made Hamilton F1's most decorated driver, not necessarily the best. He is already arguably F1's greatest ever sportsman, supposedly. He also has a record for the most F1 wins. That's 103 wins, pole positions, and 103 pole positions as well, and podium finishes at 182. So there you go. That's Lewis Hamilton. Not shedding a single tear.
What was the? I mean, this is a little bit. It was supposed to be news for New Year, for Christmas Eve, and now we're doing it for New Year's Eve. So it's a little bit old. But why was it? Did he get his knickers in such a twist?
Because he was a sitting duck, and the team could have brought him in, which meant he could have lost the championship by bringing him in. And then he was crying because Max Verstappen went in, changed tyres, fresher tyres, which meant there was like 1 lap left of the race, and Hamilton couldn't do anything. So, well,
surely he can win it next year if he wants to, if he's good enough.
Yeah, there's rumours that he's going to retire, which is probably just as well. Really.
I really want to hope that under his breath, you've got Charlie going, "Oh, we've got one of you in our family now, you know." I'm sure he didn't, but I've got a sister-in-law that's not dissimilar. The issue I have,
look, he's taking the knee. He's taking the knee on that.
Oh, yes, yeah. Racing drivers matter. The issue I've got with him is he lives in a tax haven. He splits his life between Monaco and Switzerland, so he doesn't pay any tax, which I thought precluded you from being knighted. Now, he's got a knighthood. So he's won 103 times. Yeah. Yes. Nigel Mansell has won more than Jackie Stewart and more than Sterling Moss, and I'm pretty sure more than Jack Brabham at 32 times. Nigel Mansell, I think he's an OBE. He's never been knighted.
He is an OBE. He's only a single world champion.
Oh, is he?
Jackie Stewart is a 3-time world champion.
There you go. I bow to your superior knowledge. So that's why.
Jackie Stewart is the greatest British Scottish racing driver of them all.
Yeah, my father. I'm not a massive motor racing fan, so I do burn my head to other people that know. My father is a massive. He bought motorsport every single month for about 20 years. He hates Jackie Stewart. He absolutely really hates Jackie. I grew up with my father going, "Fucking Jackie Stewart." I don't know why. I don't think it's a Scottish thing. I just think he hates Jackie Stewart. Mind you, he likes Rod Stewart. He's got 3 Rod Stewart albums, so it can't be a Scottish thing.
No.
And he likes the small faces. He just looks at Jackie Stewart and says, "Oh,
and the crankies."
He doesn't. No, he's all right on the crankies. And he really likes Russ Abbott's impression of a Scotsman with the red hair and the kilt.
Yeah.
There we go. So there you go. Well done, Lewis. You can put that all the other crap you've won, you idiot. Meanwhile, an Tory MP says poor scum shouldn't be allowed to drive car news. There she is. Does she work for the Labour Party, or is she hoping to get in by saying making this statement?
I like the look of her.
Yeah, she is quite. You're quite into that. sort of milfy gilfy area. A government minister, transport minister, has said that owning a car is outdated 20th century thinking and will soon become a thing of the past for most people. Junior Transport Minister Trudy Harrison, soon to be elected by the Labour Party, told a Green Travel Constant that the country was reaching a tipping point where shared mobility in the form of car clubs, scooters, and bike shares will soon be a realistic option for many of us to get around. Speaking to a virtual audience, you see, she'd done so. Yeah, she didn't want to get COVID, Simon, and destroy the validity of this show. Speaking to a virtual audience at a transport charity, Como UK, Ms. Harrison said the UK needed to move away from 20th century thinking centered around private vehicle ownership and towards greater flexibility. With personal choice and low carbon shared transport, cars are responsible for 13% of Britain's greenhouse gas emissions. The government said, well, mate, on that note, what's number one? Is it cows or boilers? We should ban central heating and milk. The government says it intends to reduce emissions to net zero by 2050. Good luck with that one. And as a combined 5 billion to greener transport such as walking or cycling. Yeah, I can move house by walking, can't I? And I can, when I've got to pick up 15 cans of paint, some concrete blocks, a little bit of gypsum plaster, sandpaper, and a new ladder, I can just put it on my bicycle. I don't know if you know that, but you can definitely do that. One way of achieving all of this is by banning new petrol and diesel cars from 2030. Not going to happen. E-scooters are also about to be made legal on UK roads, apparently, to promote a greener way to get about. 80% of households in the UK own a car, according to figures by data firm Statista. I looked up her background because I thought she might be posh, but she's not. She's quite working class. It's working class background, which shocked me. The big question is, why do we own a car? Let's see. Well, it's because there's no other way of traveling to work. There's no other way of picking stuff up. Public transport is worse now than it was 50 years ago. All the jobs are given away to China over the same period, meaning we all had to travel further to find work. If you remember the 1980s, Norman Tebbit telling people to get on their bike and find work. Well, Norman, we did, but we got into cars and drove to places that we didn't live near, and we found work like that. Aside from all of this, some of us are from poor backgrounds. We've only had a car in our family since the 1960s, I should say, not even the 1950s. 50 odd years of car ownership because there's no cheaper or convenient way to get from A to B. You can stick your e-scooter and your Tesla right up your arse, my dear. This all sounds very 1984 and you will own nothing and be happy. Get bent. I don't like that. Don't tell me I can't own a car. Don't tell me I can't, because it isn't more convenient. It isn't more convenient to go, I need a car now because I've got to go and do something. I need a car now. And I've checked on the car website. There's no cars left. They're all gone. So what do I do then? Me to go and work strange hours in West London from where I live, 11 miles away, takes me roundabout in rush hour an hour, out of rush hour 20 minutes, would take me on public transport an hour and a half. So it's just not an option.
It's funny because the car was always celebrated as a means of freedom for people.
Yeah.
And yet they want to take that away from people.
Listen, I had no car in Bangkok for 3 years. I lived in Thailand for 3 years. I had no car, but I lived in the center of Bangkok.
Yeah.
I could get on a taxi, a motorcycle taxi. I could get on the BTS, I think it's the MTR, so the underground and the overground. Loads and loads and loads of ways to get around. I even used to get on the Tesco Lotus bus. Tesco used to supply a free bus. If you bought something from Tesco, you just showed your receipt. So I'd finish work, I'd go and buy a croissant, and I'd get on the bus with my friend, and they go, and it would take me near to where I lived. In fact, I'm sure once he did sort of go, where do you? I said, no, a little bit further. Okay. We also had the long tail boats. I used to catch the boats, which were fantastic. And I only went 2 stops up. So sometimes they wouldn't charge me for that. They go, you're going 2 stops up. Don't worry about it. They get off the boat.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, when there's options, you do that.
There.
Of course it does. I came back here and I struggled living in zone 6. I struggled for a year going, I need to be in the station in 10 minutes. Oh, crap. There's no motorcycle taxi outside my house. Whereas before there was, and I could just jump on and go, hey, let's go. Woo! Round the corner. I even had a fold-up bike in Bangkok. I was the only one on a fold-up bike. My little Taiwanese fold-up bicycle.
Nice. Anyway. Meanwhile, in what's the most reliable cars on the road news? You remember those cars? Yes.
Oh, yes, I do remember. Yeah, I've heard of those.
If they get rid of the cars, that means they get rid of this show. Just saying. What car has just published has just published results of its used car reliability survey, telling us which brands and models you can rely on not to encounter problems, and which ones you should steer clear of and avoid regular trips to the mechanic. And this year's results show that Suzuki cars are the most dependable, while Land Rover are great. Are they Indian now? Indian?
Indian Chinese, I believe. I think Tata still own them, but I think China invested quite heavily in them.
They remain slumped at the bottom in reliability rankings for yet another year. The latest mid-monthly update from Auto Trader shows that the incredible rise in used car values in the last 12 months because supply and demand and all that stuff. It claims that the average advertised price for used vehicles on its websites last week reached £20,109, which is 28% higher than a year ago. Such a massive demand for used cars in the wake of supply issues with the latest models. The reliability data is for cars aged between 6 and 15 years old and covers 27 brands and a total of a whopping 139 mainstream models. The top 10 best performing marques is dominated by Japanese and Korean brands, though there was a surprise appearance for budget maker Dacia at number 9, which is one place higher than Porsche. So let's have another top of the pop style countdown of the top 10 most reliable cars in the UK. Over to you, Rich.
That's right. Thanks, Simon. Coming in at number 10, is it Porsche? Is it Porsche? Or is it Porsche? Oh, who cares? But they rank at 85% reliability. Meanwhile, not off. It's number 9. It's the Romanian Renault. That'll be the Dacia. We don't know. Koreans are storming in at number 8 with a reliability index of 86.5. It's Hyundai. And we stay in the Far East with the Zoroastrian god of fire. It's Mazda, who took the number 7 spot. Like what I did there? Not really. Meanwhile, the Japanese are making their way to the top at number 6 with Mitsubishi and a reliability rating of 89% from the people who brought you kamikaze planes. Meanwhile, back across the sea of Japan at 5 with Korea's Kia taking pride of place. Pride, I don't know why I bother. I should get another job. Don't agree with me. And staying with the Orient for the top 4, it's Honda taking the runner-up spot. Then it's Toyota with the bronze at 92.4%. More Toyota taking silver with Lexus at 2. And the number 1 spot, the most reliable car in the UK with a rating of 97% from the people who bought you the Jimny. It's Suzuki at number 1. There's some gas and air after that.
How many people actually own a Suzuki?
I don't know anybody that owns a Suzuki.
Exactly.
I Jimny on holiday in Spain once. Slightly drunk.
We'll give you a quick rundown of the least reliable brands.
Yes.
They were Mercedes-Benz at number 10, 10th from bottom, 77.4. 9 was Volkswagen, 77.1. 8 was Vauxhall, 76.7. 7 was Nissan, 76.4. Fiat, number 6 with 76.3. Jaguar. Hang
on, Jaguar. Don't forget the American audience, Simon.
Yes, I know. We got a classic car coming up in a bit. 74.9. 4th was Renault, 74.8. Peugeot, number 3, 73.5. Citroen. Oh, look at that. Loads of French companies. 73.5. Citroen was 71.8, and at number 1 was Land Rover with 65.3% reliability rate. 65%. So you've got a 65% chance of your Land Rover being reliable
between the ages of 6 years and 15 years.
Wow.
And I have a 18-year-old Honda outside that has had one flat tire in the 15 years we've owned it.
Wow.
This is why nobody in third world drives Land Rovers anymore, because they're crap. Because if you're gonna want a car that's never going to break down, it's going to be a Hilux, a Toyota Hilux. You're just not going to buy a Land Rover. The interesting thing is Vauxhall's at 76. Well, it's not that far off. Well, Vauxhall is now owned by Peugeot Citroën. So if you drive a Vauxhall for many years, you've been driving a Peugeot Citroën.
Yeah.
So just as unreliable. But that Land Rover one is Jaguar, the same. The same.
So,
These companies have been unreliable for decades, and the only thing they're living on is this brand badge. I seriously don't get it. If I want to buy a 4x4, I'm going to buy a Land Cruiser because they don't break. You see 20-year-old Land Cruisers, and don't get me wrong, you do see 20, 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old Land Rovers. I've got a mate that's got a Series 1, but you also see that every one of their driveways has a big oil patch because they just leak oil and they're not built very well. The Japanese have a history of over-engineering cars. In Britain, I don't know. I don't want to run us down because I think we've got some of the best designers. I mean, forget America. America is its own thing. And in very much so, it's like its own world to itself. I love American cars. I think they're absolutely cool. They don't work anywhere else apart from America. They do not work in Europe. We're too small. And the rest of the third world, American cars, and developing worlds and middle-income countries, American cars don't work. British cars worked all over the world. We've been let down time and time again. All my family worked in the British motor industry in the Midlands, and it gets so boring banging on about unreliability of British cars. I think Land Rover, go and make one great car. Just make one great car. Don't make 52 different models that effectively all look the same. Oh, and before I forget, my neighbor, who's a lovely man but knows about cars, has just bought himself a brand new disco, and it looks nothing like a disco. It looks like a Freelander. And so he's showing me around this thing, and I'm looking at the big wheels are too big. He's never going to off-road it anyway. And I went, don't you remember Disco 2 could level?
Yes.
And it could go up and down. Another friend of mine had one, and I was like, because his mum used to get in it, and she said, it's really cool because he lowers it for me because I'm of a certain age. I can get in it, and then it raises up again. I said, and my mate, he said, I said, it's very low. Does it raise? No. And he's got, the rock bars that run between the two wheels. He's got those on it. And I said,
for Southwest London.
In Southwest London. So why have you got those? It looks good, doesn't it? I went, but you know what they're for? And he went, no, not really. So I explained to him. He went, oh, I could use them. Oh, well, you could use them if your wheels weren't so fucking big and your Land Rover went up and down. And it was like, and he's got a goddamn auto. Sorry. Why are these people allowed to buy cars? See, there's me being really passionate, and I'm the guy going, I'm just going to buy something that's Japanese and works. Talking of old cars, old motors means classic car status news. When most people hear the phrase classic cars, they think of pre-war Bentleys, Aston Martins, stunning Ferraris from yesteryear. They probably don't think of the Ford Sierra and the Nissan Micra, but they, along with a host of other motors, will soon be honoured with official classic car status, meaning the wider world can join enthusiasts, put my false teeth back in celebrating them. That's because we were introduced in 1982, and therefore they turned 40 tomorrow, which means the earliest examples will begin to qualify for historic vehicle tax exemption. When a car turns 40, it no longer requires an MOT. It's automatically exempt from the ULEZ charge. Bing! Although the owners must keep their cars roadworthy. That's all you have to do. The cars that are eligible for classic car status include MG Metro, BMW 3 Series, E30, Ford Escort SR 16i, which is the precursor, the RS, to the XR3i, which I owned. Mark 1 Nissan Sunny. More appealingly, though, Mercedes W124 Volvo 740, and BMW 700. Look, gangster car, man. Yes. Now, the last three, I would argue, were made to a very high standard, and one could say that could be a daily driver, couldn't it? I like that. Nice little small steel wheels.
What I would say is a lot of these cars, this is what coming up. We've got the classic car selection on the show. That's exactly what we've been saying for the last couple of years. Yeah. These sorts of cars are classic cars. It's very rare that we'll have a Bentley or an Aston Martin. I don't think we've ever had an Aston or a Ferrari on the.
No, well, the Aston Martins that we know our viewers and ourselves could afford would effectively be a Mondeo from that period because it was the same platform anyway. But that, I would argue, is a very good looking car. And if you could get that in a normally aspirated spec and it's in good nick and it's not been driven, and and ahead of
Some
that,
shoulder pads on.
That's right. Buy, sell, mobile phone, an analog mobile phone like my dad had in the car. That's right. Buy, sell. I phoned him once. I was about 13 years old to come and pick me up. I don't know. I was in town. And I remember, so this is a long time ago, shoving 50p. You could make a phone call for 10p. And I shoved 50p into the phone box.
Yes.
And it lasted maybe 30 seconds. Hi, Dad, it's Rich. Can you come pick me up? That was it. And it started charging me the moment the phone started ringing, not the moment he picked up.
And that follow-on call button that you had on the phone boxes.
Oh yes, I used to reverse charge calls all the time when I was a kid. Can I reverse the charges? Go on then. I think it cost him £1 every time as well. He was like, cheap son of a bitch. Got no excuse now. What are we doing now? Is it the classic car selection?
It is. It's the classic car selection.
I have been remiss and not found some music. Hang on a second. Classic car selection. Hang on. Bear with me a mo.
Let's get the band in.
No,
not that much. The band haven't been playing much. They've not been.
No, they've been out of sorts really. They've been. We'll try
work from home. They can't really.
Yeah, they can't work from home. Also, they're finding out that their local heroin dealer has been giving them fentanyl, so they've been a bit sleepy rather than their usual happiness. But strike at the band, boys! Here they go. Fentanyl's kicking in now, obviously. Taking that bass for a walk. There we go. All yours.
Patrick Moore with the xylophone in there.
Or I do like a bit of. Is it a xylophone or is it there's a xylophone and there's a vibraphone?
Oh.
I think it's the jazz folk use a vibraphone, but it looks like a xylophone.
Yeah.
I think that the xylophone is more. Oh, I'm getting confused with the glockenspiel that we used in school.
We'll do some research on that. It is, of course, time for the classic car selection on the show. This week, the classic car, we go stateside.
Ooh.
And we look at an American muscle car. After 20-year absence, Dodge reintroduced their Charger. There's it from the back.
There's it from the front.
In 2005. It was based on the four-door sedan Chrysler LX platform and shared little with the Charger concept car that was unveiled in 1999. Initially, the Charger was available in 7 different trim models. And for the first time, a V6 engine was available, as well as four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. It was only available on the RT package, though. However, from 2009 onwards, all-wheel drive was also an option on the SE and SXT versions. The base model, the SE, included a 2.7-litre V6 engine, which only had a measly 190 bhp from a 2.7-litre engine V6, and delivered a measly 21 mpg around town. So don't go for that one. It was fitted with a 5, especially with all that traffic that we have in there. It was fitted with 5-speed automatic transmission with auto stick manual shifting feature. It also had 17-inch alloy wheels, air conditioning, all-speed traction control, as well as ABS electronic stability program, and was kitted out with things like CD player and power mirrors and windows. In addition to features and trims were available, including the Charger RT. It had a 5.7-litre Hemi V8. Mated to a 5-speed automatic transmission, a multiple displacement system that allowed it to save fuel by running only 4 cylinders while cruising was also a feature on that V8 system. Performance of was the focus of the Charger SRT8 version, which was equipped with a 6.1-litre Hemi engine, again mated to 5-speed automatic, as it had conveniences such as 8-way power, front seats, a unique grille, rear spoiler, body-coloured interior trim, a large engine cover, larger exhaust tips, perforated suede inserts, power adjustable pedals, unique colours and exterior trim. Optional was the Road Track package, offered 10 additional horsepower. It also had better equipment, the GPS navigation system, 322-watt audio system, I like it. A sunroof, a rear seat DVD entertainment system, and a radio. George Murphy, who's the senior vice president of global marketing.
Not George Murphy.
Yeah, he says, we've combined, it doesn't sound like this, we've combined American rear-wheel drive muscle car genes with 21st century Daimler Chrysler performance, safety, customer convenience, technology that make the Dodge Charger a fun car to drive, affordable, and a 5-door passenger sedan. The Charger's integrated safety and security features provided exceptional occupant protection on the road. The National Highway Transport Safety Administration, which is the NHTSA, gave the Dodge Charger a 5-star rating for driver and front passenger protection in a frontal crash, and that was the highest rating in the U.S. government's safety crash test program. So, what should you pay for a decent car like this? Here's a picture. That's the rear. That's the front. That's going sideways. Yes. You could pay for a decent spec all-wheel drive version with 5.7 litre V8. You could pay $4,800, which is £3,600 for a rough example.
Wow.
Or you could splurge $9,000, which is £7,000 for an A1 condition one. However, in the UK, you can get these cars imported.
Ooh.
So for a bit more money,
yes,
I found this. It's a 2007 Dodge Charger Hemi.
Yeah.
Pursuit version.
Oh, excellent.
Pursuit version.
Does it come with all the decals on it?
It does, and the lights. It's they did produce a Pursuit version for the Americans, but they bought one over here. Are you
thinking what I'm thinking? Blues Brothers.
115,000 miles on the clock in Yorkshire, in Wakefield, private seller. That could be yours for a whisker under 12 grand. But I think that's unusual, isn't it?
And look at the big fat wheels, because it's a cop car.
Yes.
Giant fat wheels, not Ponzi alloys. I quite like that. Now, are you allowed to drive around in that? I'm just thinking rush hour commute might be a bit. How long did it take you to get in this morning? Oh, about 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Popped on the lights.
There you go. So they did do the Pursuit version. So the Pursuit version obviously had all the bits and pieces, all the trimmings with it.
I remember seeing one. They're all left hookers, aren't they? Because they never made any for the UK market. I remember seeing one in Ealing about 5-6 years ago. They're good looking cars, because the thing is, you get the same. It's the Challenger. The Challenger was always the more expensive car. It's the better looking car because it's only got the 2 doors.
Yeah. But this has got 4 or 5 seats in it.
Car though. Yeah. And you're really going to stand out, especially if you leave it in police colours. I love that. Well done, Simon. Excellent choice for all our American cousins. And when you were going, and if you want a really good one, $9,000, I was like, carry the one. It's about £6,500, £7,000.
£7 grand, yeah.
What am I going to get over here for that? A Corsa. I'm going to get absolutely jack over here. I'm sorry, America, you don't. And your gasoline, as you call it, is so much cheaper than our petrol.
Does a Corsa have a 5.7 litre V8 Hemi?
Strangely enough, no. I think you're lucky if you get the 1.2. I think they might even do a 1.4 diesel Corsa. Probably. Absolute pile of crap. Well done. Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. If you want to suggest a classic car, you can email the Car-Boyz at car-boys@outlook.com. Facebook, car-boys, boys always with a Z. At Car-Boyz with 4 Zs. Twitter, car-boys. At car_boys with a Z. Instagram, at car_boys with 3 Zs, because 4 had already been taken. Is it time for Lost Highways?
It is time for Lost Highways.
Are you ready?
I am.
For the Americans. They love all this.
Of course they
trucks, I don't know, cowboy boots, rattlesnakes, inbreeding,
sisters,
brothers, any holes of gold. It's America. It gets lonely up in the Appalachian Mountains. We've lost the Rust Belt totally now.
we brought him in with the charger.
Yeah, with the
and then
music,
we
we let him go. Bye. That's all right. I'll need to get back to my sister. Boy, you got a pretty mouth.
It is, of course, the Lost Highway section of the show where listeners email us in and give us their favourite roads and reasons why they love them. It can be a straight two-lane blacktop coastal road that leads down to sea. Alternatively, it can be blacktop that leads to infinity and invites you to gun the pedal to the metal. And whatever your poison is, let us know your perfect driver hits on Car-Boyz. All the details will be flashed on the screen now. And into the Car-Boyz inbox this week, last one of the year, is Maximilian from Hofgarten in Austria. I think I've been there. I have been there. He says, Frona Weihnacht, is that right? Merry Christmas?
Frogsna Weihnachten. Frog Wein.
I didn't do German.
I did it for a year. Weihnachten.
But apparently it means Merry Christmas, because of course this was the Christmas show. From the mountains of Austria. You can't get more Christmassy than snow. So come here to try the Gerlos Alpine Road.
Nice.
He says this route is the far west of the Pinzagu between Mittersill in Salzburg. I know that. And Zell am Zeller in the Tyrol region of Austria. It takes around an hour, but you'll want to allow more time to ensure plenty of stops to take in those breathtaking scenes. The 12-kilometer pass itself between Krimmel and Gerlos incorporates 9 turns at a maximum gradient of 9% at the height of 1,628 meters.
Why do I recognise Gerlos? Oh no, I'm thinking of Goering.
Open since 1962, the route was designed by the same architect behind the Großlochnocher High Alpine Pass, which is Franz Wallace, who likes to listen to the show often. A visit to the Wasserwelten Krimmel is a necessity with a drop height of 380 meters. These stand as Europe's tallest waterfalls. The Krimmel waterfalls can be seen from each car park. Why is he talking about car parks? Oh, okay. From the main route, with like convenient car park located nearby. I've been there. I've been to those waterfalls.
Really?
Yeah, long time ago, 1990.
Well, what were you doing there?
Just a holiday in Austria.
With the family or with the school?
Yeah, no, with the family. Yeah.
Really?
Between leaving junior school and going to secondary school.
Okay, what did you think of Austria and Austrians?
Wasn't really interested in the people at the time, but it was very clean. The air was very crisp, so it was nice. I liked it.
I've never been to Austria. I've been to the French Alps more than once, a lot of times. So I imagine it's Alpine country up there.
Yeah.
And I've been to the Czech Republic years ago, and the Austrians were quite unfriendly people.
Really?
Czech people were quite friendly. I don't speak much German, and I don't speak any Czech apart from what I'd learned on the plane going over. So bless the Czechs were looking at me going, yeah, you got that word right. No, that's wrong. I don't understand what you're talking about now. But I remember being in a restaurant trying to order the menu really slowly, and the guy's going, this is good, it's good. And there's this Austrian guys like taking the piss out of me. I was like, well, you live next to the Czech Republic. Mind you, I met a very nice Austrian guy in Vietnam who ran a resort, and he was hilarious. So I can't speak always of ill of the Austrians, apart from 1939 to 1945. A bit dodgy there, wasn't it, folks?
Oh, there is Arnie as well. He's Austrian.
Oh, yeah, he is Austrian, isn't he? With his comedy accent when he says California like that. My father did nothing during the war. He was just a postman. Of course, he wasn't. So, I quite fancy that. I quite fancy some. Is it? I think my wife's been to Vienna. Very different. Vienna. She absolutely just with Ultravox. not the capital of Austria. She just went to an Ultravox single that was a top 10 hit. Finally, for this year, Teresa. I used to know a girl called Teresa Green. And yes, they were from Lewisham. Hey, I wake twice on Wednesdays. Enjoy the fish. Teresa from Lewisham says, "Feliz Navidad."
Feliz Navidad.
Dun, dun. Feliz Navidad. I don't know the rest of it. Just
that's it.
Feliz Navidad. You reminded me. I didn't have Feliz Navidad on it. I usually have my 2 Christmas albums, which is Jose Feliciano Christmas hits, and the Phil Spector Christmas album. I'm going to put them on tonight. I'm going to put them on tonight and annoy my people running around. She says, I'm a learner driver. Oh, it says, I don't know. I don't want to offend anybody. They say, I'm a learner driver from here in London, but I can appreciate the roads from around my hometown in northern Spain. Yeah. The great thing about driving around the coastline of the Basque country is you can start just about anywhere, drive in any direction and hit places worth seeing. Being on the coast, there's no shortage of beautiful beaches, dramatic rugged cliffs and charming coastal villages to see. She says the coastal city of San Sebastian, her hometown, marvelous, pilgrims um, uh, uh, the Pilgrim's Progress, I think that's the town. You walk from one side of Spain to the other, and you end up in San Sebastian. It's one of the northern Spain's most popular destinations, boasting a lively atmosphere, delightful urban beach, and array of historical landmarks, whilst the charming fishing villages providing relaxing, laid-back bases for exploring the coast. Her partner drove from Saint-Biarritz on the A63 in France across the border to Spain on the motorway, the AP8, which leads, if you're feeling daring, to Bilbao. I'll just point out, I went to Spain about 20 years ago. It was a little over 20 years ago, and I was amazed at how amazing Spanish roads are. And the motorways are like that. They are truly amazing. Smooth. And you know why? Because we paid for them. The EU paid for all their bloody motorways. Before that, it was effectively a frigging donkey track under Franco. And join the EU, we pay for all your bloody roads. But that sounds fun. That actually does sound right up my street. I am some point going to have to get up to northern Spain. I've done the south. I've done the centre, where I found the rain was mainly on the plain. But I want to go to Asturias. Where else is it? Oviedo. Galicia, so yes,
Santander is up there as well.
Santander, Midland, NatWest, all the banks. Thank you very much for that. You've seen the. I'm not doing it again. I've lost it anyway. Rewind, and you'll find our name and address. You can suggest some driving roads. I forgot to cue this one up. I forgot to cue this. I do apologize.
We're having such a good time.
We're having such a good time talking about what Germans did between 1945 and 1939 and 1945. But hang on. Here we go. Oh, that sounded terrible. That last one. I noticed. There we go.
Oh, bassy.
That is. Oh yeah. I think I used to have a motorbike that sounded like that. That's like your old Fiesta, isn't it?
That's like one of the ones that you do in bed. It's just in the middle of the night. Just let it go.
I'm married. I can't do that anymore now, Simon. I get moaned at if I do that. Oh, she's asleep. I'll let this one out.
It is, of course, time on the show where we examine the terrible crimes committed against cars across the world, from driving a 1988 Fiat Punto with run-flat tyres or the rest of its life, even putting sawdust into the gearbox. We basically find a car for sale across the world, a terrible car that dared to mount a pile of feces to be crowned the glorious king of the hill. It is of time on the show for Pup of the Week or Turd of the Week. This week, we had an email from Colin in Exeter. Hello, Colin from Exeter. He said he saw this bad boy for sale on the internet and thought, what a great pile of junk. I must forward this to the Car-Boyz. That should be your instant thought. Whatever happens, you should always do that. It's a 2004 Ford Focus with just over 100,000 miles on the clock, a few mechanical issues, and has 3 months worth of MOT. This car can be yours for the very, very low price of £350. So, Rich, why should you buy this Christmas present to yourself?
Well, Simon, unless you'd like me to give yourself a lump of Dagenham scrap iron, it'd be a no from me. Let's look at the description of the car. Ford Focus, 1.6, 5-door hatchback, 3 months MOT, still starts, drives intermittent firing now and then. Will most definitely fail its next MOT, with bushes and links that need attention. Can be repaired and kept on the road for another year if repairs were fixed. Doesn't even make sense. To repair the repairs. Bonnet discoloured, front grille broken, worn tyres on the driver's side, car still has catalytic converter, which is worth a few quid, and car can be sold for parts, 2 keys, and blue, 5+ owners. So let's start. 5 plus owners could mean 5, could mean 5,000.
Yes.
The bonnet is not. If you can take a look at this,
it's a different color.
It's a different. It's not discolored. Yeah. It's from a different car.
It is. Yes.
The thing has been treated like the proverbial red-headed stepchild. There are dents all over this car, and I imagine it's been driven fast and hard by every single of the 5,000 owners. I do not like Ford Focuses. They have too many mechanical issues to mention, but the one on the bonnet or the hood, the catch, which is underneath the badge on the front, always breaks off. It's a terrible design. It happened to my mother. There you go. Can you see there?
Yeah.
It's underneath the Ford badge. It's a piece of plastic which breaks. My stepdad had one of these. It had lots of technical issues from new. His was a brand new one. The sills underneath both sides of the door rusted, and they took it back to the garage, who fixed it, and then they rusted again. And then they took it back to the garage, who fixed it again, and then they sold the effing car because it's a pile of crap. But that's just my hatred for the Ford Focus. This guy's mentioned misfiring, which definitely is a major issue. The bushes will cost you a good £500 plus to fix. What else has the seller not told us about? On the plus side, the car interior is nice, which, you know, be a nice place to hang out when you're broken down on the A30. Instead, I'd like to spend, do you know what? Instead of doing this, I take this and do that to it. Because you got 350, you're probably going to have to spend another 700 on it. I'd take £1,000 and buy an old Korean or Japanese car, kick this pup up the road, and actually be able to get from A to B.
I love the scratches on the bumpers. The bumpers are doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, that's been driven. I assume you've seen Carnage by the Top Gear guys, the Grand Tour. That has been treated like the French treat their cars. That's what bumpers for. I was sat in Abbeville 25 years ago in a cafe, smoking a cigarette, drinking a black coffee, and I watched this guy come down the road in a Citroen ZX, come up to a parking space. It was no way big enough. He reversed in to it, and there was a person sat in one of the cars, bashed into that car, then bashed into the front of the car in front, then bashed into the back, then bashed into the front, and then went, it's fine, got out. The guy behind just went like this, and he went like that. Usual French. Have
some wine.
And then it's wine. Smoking his Gaulois, and he sodded off, and that was it. In England, the guy sat in the car to be out, smashing his face. What have you done to my car? Back at the paintwork. French lady said he's what his bumper is for. A French philosopher says this.
It is true.
Le bumper for le bumping.
I did see that and thought, yes, that is absolutely true. That is what the French do. They use their bumpers literally. Yes.
So that is definitely well done, Colin. That is our pup of the week. The Ford Focus, available. I don't know where. We should not promote it. It's time now for me to get out the guitar and sing you a Christmas tune. No, it's not. It's time, children, to delve into the bulging sack that's known locally as the mailbag. That's a bollocks.
Sylvia in Scarborough, Yorkshire says, hello. All right, Car-Boyz. I hope you're all doing good. Yeah, I am now. Look, negative test. I'm good. Look. Yes. She's waking up every morning.
We've still got the eggs.
She's waking up every. Why is she telling us that she's waking up every morning this week? Oh, with ice on her, which I should have read on. Just like it was just an event that she was waking up every morning.
Well, yeah, pain in the backside. Quite live, Simon. Don't slag him off. What did you do today?
Says,
I woke up.
Yeah. She says, pain backside to clear the ice off it. What would you recommend? Maybe some sort of plastic top on the windscreen. How about a kettle of hot water? No.
Gee whiz, missus.
No. Do not do that. Do not put a hot kettle to the window.
Never do that. So, no to the plastic tarp as well, because that gets stuck on the front. Because England doesn't. We should be like the Inuit. We do not have one type of snow. We have all sorts of snow. In fact, ice is ours. And this is why our roads in England are so completely knackered, because they freeze and unfreeze and freeze and unfreeze something like 30 times a year. Whereas in Sweden, it freezes in October and unfreezes in March.
Yes. Hence why we get lots of potholes on our roads.
So if you put this on, a plastic sheet over this in the UK, in Yorkshire, it'll work a couple of times, but then you're going to get maybe rain, and then you're going to get not snow but ice on the windscreen, and you'll be trying to pull this thing off, and it's going to peel off, and it'll be stuck on the windscreen. As Simon just said, a kettle of hot water is insane. You're taking it from minus 0 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit. I don't care. It's not 1974 to plus 100. I don't understand the Americans like Fahrenheit, and I don't understand it. If you go 0 freezy, 100 cup of tea. It's pretty simple, and everything else is in between. So don't do that. Some people put warm water and salt on the windscreen, but I wouldn't let salt near my bodywork because I've got a perfect body.
Your body's a temple. It
is a temple, and I treat it as such. Just vodka. The council gritter, and that's not an euphemism for anything. The council gritter does enough damage to my car every year. No salt on the car. There's nothing better than a scraper and a can of de-icer, or a maxed out credit card, or a Tesco credit card if they still have those around.
The little tiny ones that you get, that's not going to get.
Not the little tiny ones on you keep on a proper size one. This is what my mate used to do, and it's brilliant. He doesn't. My mate used to own a house outside in the middle of nowhere in the Cotswolds. He'd wake up in his pajamas. He'd go downstairs. He'd put the key in the car. Start the car. He'd spray a load of de-icer on the windscreen.
Yeah.
Put the heater on. He'd go back inside. He'd have a shower. He'd have go and get a cup of tea. Seriously. So half an hour later, he comes out. The windscreen is completely clear. I wouldn't recommend this for people who park in the street or live in urban areas. Yeah, don't do this in London. You won't have a car when you come back down. But my mate used to do it all the time, and I thought it was genius idea to get that. I've been having to do that this week.
Wow.
It's not been fun. Misha or Mika in La Rochelle, bonsoir. France says bonjour voiture garçon. Bien, oui. Oui, c'est bon, gracias. Bon douche, Rodney, bon douche. Right, enough of that French. I've run out of French words now. This isn't French 101. It certainly isn't. Misha, I think it's Misha. It's a man anyway. We can call him Mike for the purposes of this conversation. Misha exactly. So he's a big fan of the show, and he likes when we give him advice on old crap cars.
Yes, we like that.
There's
too.
so many of them in France with dented bumpers. He writes. He goes on to say his friend is buying a new car, and he's getting rid of his old car. And he wants to know if he should snap it up. It is a 2002 Kia Schuma 1.6 litre manual, many scratches, many dents, but with full service history, only 86,000 kilometers on the clock, not miles. So what we're down to about 45,000 miles. What do you think? His friend wants rid quickly. He's asking 480 euros.
480 euros. It's Korean. We just told you on the show that's good.
It's cheap, isn't it? A car's produced for about 2 years. It's a Schuma
Just
2.
2 years.
2 years they only produced this for. They produced the Schuma for about 20 years, but this was only available for about 2. Front-wheel drive, Econo box, reliable, won't break down, parts are cheap, perfect runaround for less than £400 because it was 480 euros. The only issue, interior trim and door panels, all the mechanical parts you can buy. So it's bits of interior trim you're not going to be able to get, but this is not that sort of car. If the knob for the radio falls off, I guess you just go and get a pair of pliers to change the radio.
Yeah.
Or as my dad did with his Honda, a brass door handle from a kitchen unit. Because the bonnet catch had gone. He said, this is all right, isn't it? So he drilled through a brass door handle, put that in. I went, I'm just going to find out on the internet if I can I got a remanufactured patent part from America for 15 quid, including delivery. We just put it on the fucking car. You're a fucking embarrassment. The next thing you'll be putting you'll be getting old carpet tiles from the carpet supply shop instead of car mats. They're nice, aren't they? Look at that. Isn't that? This is what my grandfather turned into. I remember grandfather polishing the car once with a can of household polish and telling me how great it was. Look at that. Stuff you use on the sideboard. and the
furniture polish.
kitchen, and he's polishing the wing, and I'm going,
Mr.
Dad,
Sheen.
yeah, Mr. Sheen, Granddad, it's silicon, it's going to rot the car. Mind you, it was an old Rover, 1.4 Rover, so it didn't really matter.
Right, anyway, yeah.
So yes, Misha,
So there you go,
it's
Mike.
a thumbs up
Misha.
from us.
Yeah. Davey from Broadstairs, nice part of the world, says, hello, Car-Boyz, boys of the car. I hope you all are both good. We are now, look. Negative test, so I'm all good.
Negative test, and I've got my vodka.
I have a problem
like the
with,
way I've transferred it into this bottle as well.
Yes.
What a tramp.
It's like going to a festival.
I'll be cleaning brushes with it later on. That's not a euphemism for anything.
Yeah. I have a problem with my electric windows on my 2004 Honda Civic Type. They're going up and down very slowly. He wants some advice. How to solve this problem. Up and down windows going slowly. It's not icy, is it?
No. Yeah, well, that's the first thought. I think it's been quite warm down in this part of the world. Yeah. I had this a few years ago. My wife has the Civic, but not the Type R. Go and get a can of silicone spray. They're £4 a can. Spray it down either side. And actually, you should use silicone spray not on the body of your car, but on everything that's black, all the black interior, anything that's grey, all the rubber. It helps preserve the rubber. But it's great. Put it down either side of the window. Wipe away the excess so when it gets on the metalwork. Give it a few minutes, let it sink in, and try it again. That should work more smoothly because, these things get old, the rubber dries out. I mean, it's a 18-year-old car next year. Could be that you need new ring window. If that doesn't work, you're going to need new window motors or regulators. There's one. We found that one on the internet. Secondhand, £25 each. Brand new, £60 per unit, and they usually come with a 30-day guarantee. So
fair enough. Nice.
Do what you want. If he's got a Civic Type R, then it's probably worth a few bob. So maybe get the new ones.
Do it. Yeah.
Good idea. Yeah. Good idea. Finally, Alice in Connecticut says winter on the east coast of America, and it's winter it's winter everywhere. Is it? Oh no, not
in the southern hemisphere.
All right. Is it winter in Mauritius?
No, it's summer.
It's summer. Okay.
Yeah. It's the opposite.
Yeah, it's the same as me for Thailand, but Bali isn't. Indonesia isn't. Indonesia's wet in the winter, and obviously doesn't snow. But you want to go to Bali in July. I had a friend of mine who used to live in Bali and Phuket, and never saw the rain. The rainy season would come over, so he'd leave. Yeah, exactly. He would leave and go over to Singapore and then up to his. It's all right for some. Right. So, Alice in Connecticut says winter. Deer populations are out and about on the state highways. Do you have any suggestions for avoiding such crashes with deer? Firstly, my suggestion would be to move away from Connecticut because there's too many deer. It's lights. Can you close the door? Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, it's the midget that lives in our house. Santa left an elf and wouldn't take it with him.
He's the producer of the show.
He is the producer. He writes it all. That's why it's so crap. No, seriously. We had a look online. In your part of the world, in Connecticut, you have a 1 in 200 chance of hitting a deer. That's quite high in your car.
Yeah.
This wasn't a thing in the UK, unless you're in the New Forest, until the last sort of 20 years, when these lovely muntjac or Chinese deer have been running around everywhere. If you drive around the countryside now late at night, anywhere in the UK, you've got likelihood of hitting a deer. The reason is, US and UK, there's no large apex predators like wolves hunting these things. And deer hunting isn't possible on this side of the pond anyway. I think it's an open season for deer hunting in America all year round because there's such a problem. My sister hit a deer in her Ford Galaxy about 4 years ago, and the car was a complete write-off. I did say to her, did you get the horns for a trophy? And you could put them on the wall. And no, she didn't. I don't know why. I would have been there with a hacksaw. The police come trying to get them off. What a talking point. But she didn't seem that keen. My granddad's old Ford Sierra got written off by a loose horse about 40 years ago. Went straight into the side of his Ford Sierra, wrote that off. So big animals, you get hit, they're really deadly. Obviously, this is a rural thing, not a London thing. First thing to remember is if you're driving along and you see a deer, there's going to be more deer. So you need to slow down. Secondly, if you brake, don't swerve, don't end up in the ditch. It's better to hit the deer than you swerving off, turn upside down, end up in a ditch full of water. So, and also you need to leave some distance between you and the car in the front. And this is a big thing I found out online in America. People hit the deer goes over your car and crushes the roof of the car behind you. So don't tailgate, guys. Slow the fuck down. Australia, they have an issue with kangaroos. They're as prolific as rabbits out there. In the outback and even large cities, they've installed what they call rhubars in the front of the car. Not so great for the roo, but great for the ute, mate. Look at that. I swear to God, in Queensland, every car's got one of these. We hired a little Daihatsu Charade and we're driving up the Aussie highway, up the East Coast. Ocean's there. Over there's a field. I went, oh, look at all these lovely rabbits. Oh, these lovely rabbits over there. And my producer's very noisy today. And my mate just turned around and said, no, that's kangaroos. And it was a whole field of kangaroos. And I was like, if one of that, it's not a rabbit. If you hit one of those things, goodbye car. Get yourself some rhubars, is what we'd say to Alice in Connecticut. I don't know whether they're also, it's a bit Max Road Warrior, isn't it?
Yes.
I quite like that.
Yes.
Got to make sure I survive. Is it time for our car quiz? Are you excited?
I am excited. Come on, Brucey. I am excited.
Because we know that I've got to find our music. We know that I've got mad children going in there. Could you close the door? Thank you. At least he didn't slam it.
Finishing touches to the show for next week.
Yeah, exactly. Throwing boxes on the floor. Of course, it's our celebrity quiz, and I can't find the music. Oh, come on! It's on here. Yeah, I know. It's just unavailable videos hidden. I'm just going to give you some 80s rock, I think. What do you think? No, I'm not looking for royalty. I don't know where that's gone. It was there last week. Maybe it's no longer royalty free. Anyway, as we all know, celebrities. Yeah, we'll find it. As we all know, celebrities are narcissists, arrogant, and mostly talentless, famed for shagging other celebrities, doing lots of drugs, and then writing a memoir and telling us how hard their lives are. Well, we're going to pay honour to them. They usually write this memoir from their summer homes on the Amalfi Coast. Well, you may think you know everything about your favourite celebrities, and they never stop telling us, do they? But do you know what cars they drive? This celebrity quiz, is entitled Celebrity Car Matchup. It's got a good audience. A little bit louder. Thank you. Yes, it's called Celebrity Car Matchup. Does Lewis Hamilton drive a Fiat 500 or an MX-5? Well, looking at the way he dresses, it could be either. Did you see the pictures of him going to the Met Gala ball in New York?
No.
Half a skirt on. It looked very fetching. But seriously, you need to match the famous face to the car. Our guest this week is Santa Simon. If we'd have planned this properly, I could have handed you the hat and you could have put it on, but I guess you haven't got one. The Santa Simons, who's travelled to visit us all from the great north, Edmonton and North London, that is. Simon, are you hoping to win big?
I am. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to like
now,
the prize.
Of course, this week, the grand prize is a photograph of Edmonton native Bruce Forsyth. Nice to see you.
Nice.
Oh, lovely. There he is. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Then I shall begin. Which car, first question one, does Hollywood celebrity Bruce Willis, there he is, and yes, you've forgotten him. He's the man that will say yes to any movie. Which car does Hollywood celebrity Bruce Willis drive? Is it A, 1968 Shelby GT500? Is it B, a 1968 Pontiac 400? Or is it C, the Dodge Charger from the Bullitt movie starring Steve McQueen?
I don't know. I don't think he's a Bullitt man. I'd go with the Shelby 500.
You're going for the 1968 Shelby GT500. Well, in fact, the correct answer is the rich twat owns all three. The Dodge Charger from the movie Bullitt has a 375 brake horsepower, 8-litre engine upgrade.
Yes.
Excuse me. The car also has been owned by, this is the car. What?
What's the car?
There's a car. You can tell that was my producer. What's the car? So that's the car he owns.
Great production values.
Also been owned. I know it's so great, isn't it? What's Cars? It's also been owned by Jamiroquai from JK. There he is.
Oh no!
There he is recently at
Yeah,
at
the White House.
well, I don't think it was the White House. Was it? Was it the
It
whatever
was
they
the
call
White
it?
House.
Was it the White House? Yeah, there he is.
Well,
I
they
know it
stormed
wasn't
the
the White House. They stormed. Wasn't the Capitol building? That was it.
That's it. The Capitol building.
We
Yeah.
know nothing about nothing.
Why is he a screaming man?
Why is he a screaming man? I don't know. Get out of here, kid. So, question 1 is correct. Right. Question 2. 1990s comedian and star of B movie, that's how I know him, Jerry Seinfeld. Who what was he also a star of?
Seinfeld.
Seinfeld, yeah. Yeah, we'll just give you that one. Yes, he owns one particular brand of car. Jerry Seinfeld. Does he own a Mercedes? A. Does he own a fleet of BMWs? Or does he C. own a fleet of Porsches? Or Porsches? Or Porsche?
So
Is it Mercedes, BMW, or Porsche the chosen car brand of Jerry Seinfeld?
This would have been 90s. 90s Mercedes were reasonable. I would go, but then he's a bit showy. So I don't think he's a BMW driver.
He collects them now.
I will go with Porsche. Fleet of Porsches.
You are correct. The start of Comedians Getting Coffee,
what?
or whatever that show's called, owns a fleet of classic Porsches, all paid for by saying, "What's the deal with airline food?" There he is. Yeah, apparently he's got something like over 100 Porsches from various eras. So. Yeah, there is. There is Jerry Seinfeld. So well done, Simon. 2 out of 2. On your way to winning me,
yes.
The Star Strictly, and many other films, many other TV shows. Now, 3 Hollywood celebrities all own the same model of car. America Ferrara, who was Ugly Betty, Ryan Gosling, smug, pretty rich boy, and Leonardo DiCaprio, whose next date has just been conceived. What do these 3 Hollywood celebrities, what model of car do they all own? Is it A, Rolls-Royce Phantom? Is it B, a Porsche 944? Is it C, a Toyota Prius?
Oh, come on. They're Hollywood, so they must be. I can't. They're Toyota Prius.
Correct. The answer is C, the Uber driver's favorite, the Toyota Prius, because they care about the planet, except it does the same MPG as a 1971 Cadillac Eldorado. That may be a lie. Also, Leonardo DiCaprio also always needs a booster seat. Girlfriend. Harsh but fair. 1980s star of The Charmer, Don't Wait Up with Tony Britton, and more recently Coronation Street, Nigel Havers. Our American audience is now going, who the fuck is he? Drives which car? I was going to say people under 40 and outside the UK. No idea who Nigel Havers is.
Nigel Havers, I think, was educated in Edmonton as well.
Was he really?
Yes.
More about Nigel
He was
Havers.
either born here or he was educated here. I know he's got a link to Edmonton.
So, we're familiar. Well, we are anyway. Nobody else. We're familiar with Nigel Havers. So does he drive a BMW i8? Does he drive a 1997 Bentley Flying Spur? Or does he drive C, a Mercedes CL500? Nigel Havers.
He's a bit of a cad. So
yes.
I think he might have a Bentley.
You reckon Bentley?
Yeah.
I'm afraid he's actually is a flash boy. He drives a Mercedes CL500.
Wow.
The star of British television drives a Merc. Interesting fact, Nigel Havers and I both did the same job working for Jimmy Young on Radio 2 as researchers. Answering the phone.
Jimmy Young's like 1,000,000 years old, so that could be.
It was a period. It was between 1906 and 2003 when Jimmy Young finally retired. Back to America and the world of sport. Basketball star and general huge bloke at 7'1", Shaquille O'Neal. He doesn't look Irish, does he? But anyway, Shaquille O'Neal drives what car? Does he drive a new Mini Cooper? Does he drive B, a classic 1960s Mini Cooper, or does he C, drive a Ford F-6050 commercial grade truck?
Have you ever seen those clips of clowns in minis?
The little clown car.
That's
yeah.
what he cannot have a mini, so it's got to be the industrial Ford.
The NBA superstar and part-time genie Shaq O'Neal has historically had trouble finding clothes and cars that could house his gargantuan frame. But if that's not a problem, in his custom-made, commercial-grade Ford, look at the size of that F650. He doesn't sit in the front. He sits in the back. I think he's had the front seats removed. What's this
Needs the
tiny
leg
car?
room.
Right, so far, 5 out of 5. Former leader of the Conservative Party and bald bloke from Chingford. See, we're sticking with the theme of North London. Ian Duncan Smith drives what car?
Dunkin' Donuts.
Ian Duncan Donuts. What car does he drive? A Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow, a BMW 7 Series, or a Morgan Plus 4 Roadster?
Oh, he's a cock, so he must... Morgan. Drives a Morgan.
You're correct, he's a cock. He does. He drives a Morgan Roadster. Ian Duncan Smith, who apparently has also got Japanese ancestry.
He owned a Honda or something.
Yeah, his dad owned the Datsun Cherry in 1978. He also is not Ian Duncan Smith. His name is Ian Smith. Duncan is his middle name.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Dunkin' Donuts.
Dunkin' Donuts. Question 7. Which rapper and songwriter with the Fugees, with the Fugees, Wyclef Jean, loves a larger car, but which of the giant 4x4 SUVs does the hip-hop star drive? A Mercedes G-Wagon, a Cadillac Escalade, or a Chevy Suburban? This is Fugees' Wyclef Jean.
So G-Wagon, Escalade, what was the other one?
And a Chevy Suburban.
I think it'd be more an Escalade type of guy.
You've disappointed me. It is a G-Wagon. Born in Haiti, rapper Wyclef Jean attempted to run for Haitian president in 2010. His candidacy was not accepted when he returned to the United States, and he bought himself a G-Class, a Mercedes G-Wagon, as a consolation prize. In fact, he's had quite a few of them, not just one time, but 2 times. Killing me softly. So where are we now? So 6 out of 7. Funky face singer Seal is a big fan of sports cars. What type of hypercar does the crazy pop star drive? Is it a Pagani Zonda, a Bugatti Veyron soft top, or a Ferrari F430 Spider?
Oh, I don't think he'd have a Veyron. I'd go with the first one, the Pagani. What was it? Zonda.
Ferrari F430 Spider. Because he's famous. These people know nothing about cars.
It's a little crazy.
Famous. He's getting a little crazy. So yeah, Seal's song "Kissed by a Rose" was featured in Batman Forever, but it's his car, a Ferrari F430 Spider, that might be more at home in the back cave. Number 9, former host of the BBC show Ready Steady Cook and former Capital FM radio station cook Ainsley Harriott is a big fan of a soft top. But which one does he drive? As an Ainsley Harriott impersonator, I think you'd know this. Does he drive a Porsche Boxster, a Mercedes SLK, or a Mini Cooper?
It's the Mini Cooper.
Of course, yes, the TV chef. There he is. The TV chef likes to drive a Mini Cooper rack top. My co-host does Ainsley Harriott lookalike appearances and is available for weddings, bar mitzvahs, and children's parties. Just like that. Finally, to win this signed celebrity picture of a former host of Strictly Come Dancing and ITV's Play Your Cards Right, the question is all about this Edmonton boy, done good Bruce Forsyth. But which car did the late lamented TV star drive? Which car, late lamented did TV star Bruce Forsyth? Which car did he drive? Did he drive A, a Bentley Continental? Did he drive B, a Mercedes AMG C-Class 500? Or did he drive C, a Rolls-Royce Corniche?
Oh, he made his money in the 80s mostly, so I'd say it was the Corniche. It's got to be.
Yes, of course. I saw him in this once.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. I saw him driving around. I was on a bus coming out of Victoria, and he passed me with his wife, his lovely wife, in the seat next to him. Lovely girl, found her in Puerto Rico. It's very nice. He loves a good old game, did Sir Bruce. And he drove a 1971 Rolls Royce Corniche. Well done to you. Nothing for preparing this game, but you did score 8. You won an autograph photograph of an autograph photograph of myself, leading golfer and TV host. You get nothing for that. And a friend of Jimmy Tarbuck, Bruce Forsooth. Well done, Simon. Well done, Bruce Forsooth. That's yours to take home, and you can do it with what you will, what you like. So, he's lovely. Dolly dealers, lovely. Well done. So that's it from us. Have yourself a fantastic New Year's Eve. Doing anything special?
No, staying in. I've been staying in all the time. So.
You're not allowed. You say you're allowed to go out?
Yeah, I'm allowed to go out, but there's nothing going on.
You're not going to do it. I'm not going out. That's not because I've got COVID. It's because I don't have a life. And as you may have noticed in this show, I also have little monsters that live with me, midgets. And I am actually obliged to look after them. Have a great New Year's Eve. See you in 2022. That's it. We'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.